Hello everyone and welcome to the Secret Base. My name is Eddie and today we will theorize how the Fantastic Four will join the MCU. I will also be revealing my next video at the end of the video, so please stick around for that. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and also turn on those notifications so you know when I upload a new video. Let's get started. I first like to say that the next few phases will deal a lot with the fallback from the war with Thanos and the events of the Infinity Saga. Elements from those events likely will cause some of the events happening in those phases, similar how the Tesseract was the MacGuffin of most of the movies happening within the Infinity Saga. The Fantastic Four will be no different, as they will see their powers come to be due to the events of the Infinity War. And yes, I'm talking about the first snap. We could see Reed working on a prototype ship, which we could see in flight during the events of Infinity War. The test flight will consist of Reed, Sue, Ben Grimm, and a stowaway Johnny Storm who snuck into the ship while nobody watched. As they are on the ship, they all witness the invasion of Earth at the hands of Thanos and his children. They could also say that they went into outer space to study cosmic radiation, similar to their origin in the comic. Maybe the ship is powered by something that emulates the motor used in the Captain Marvel movie. After Thanos does the first snap, the radiation causes their ship engine to become unstable, unbeknownst to those on board, because they all dust away. 5 years later, they are brought back by the third snap. This time, Reed, realizing that something went terribly wrong, starts to head back to Earth. However, during their trip back, the fourth and final snap happens and sends out another wave of radiation as they enter the atmosphere, which makes the engine of the ship go haywire, spewing even more radiation. The combination of the two radiations altering their DNA and sending them crashing. After they are found, they are taken to the hospital where they spend a few weeks or a few months in the hospital, probably in a coma. Then we'll get the "oh my god, I got powers" moment from each member. Let's say these events happen in around the same time as Spider-Man Far From Home, which also will go into play within this movie. Now, the setting of the movie, I think, should be around the third Spider-Man movie. If that isn't set in New York, which hopefully it isn't, we could have a scenario where the city is not being protected as much due to Spider-Man not being there, and maybe forces looking for him, just trying to question him. So yeah, it will be a Spider-Man-less New York. I know he was mostly in Queens. In the last few outings, but this could play into Spider-Man now being more active within the city. As I mentioned in my last video, this is where Mole Man would come into play. Noticing that things are a bit messy at the moment, he could decide that this is a perfect time for him to strike and take revenge on the world that shunned him for so long. You'll probably see the typical small attacks around the city, similar to other movies like Armageddon, or even just like Spider-Man Far From Home, which you just saw little attacks here and there, and not really seeing the main villain until a little bit more into the movie. With all of this going on around the city, the attacks, Spider-Man being a fugitive, people still dealing with the effects of the snap. This could, help the Fantastic Four decide that, the city needs heroes, they need someone to protect it, and they should take a deeper look into what's happening around the city, especially with the recent mysterious attacks. The first act as heroes will be to save some people after an attack by the Mole Man, which will be their debut. I would suggest having J. Jonah Jameson praise them for their heroism. He does that in the comics too, and give them the name the Fantastic Four. This is because I would like to see this team tied closely with the Spider-Man franchise as they were in the early Spider-Man comics. I would love to see J. Jonah Jameson go, "This is what real heroes are, not like that murderous menace Spider-Man." This will lead to the public going crazy for the team, as they are now the heroes the city needed desperately. And it's not long until the Mole Man appears again, and this time, he does the whole warning the city of their impending doom, no pun intended. This will lead to the Fantastic Four warning Mole Man that he'd have to get through them before he gets to the city. And I know it's cheesy, but let's be honest, the Fantastic Four are a pretty cheesy team, but that's why they work. That's why they're so charming, because they get cheesy right, and if Marvel does it correctly, it could just be, well, absolutely fantastic, pun intended. The Fantastic Four's retaliating against Mole Man will lead to one of the most hype moments in the movie, and I think that should be just Victor Von Doom finally coming into play, but not really into play. We could just see Victor watching the news broadcast and in his home country of Latveria, where he's a ruler, noticing that out of all people, his old college mate and rival Reed Richards now has powers. This in turn makes him go mad and inspires him to further stories the grimoires of his deceased mother, which in the comics is how he gets most of his powers, and he just goes mad and throws a fit. I would say the final battle should be pretty simple. It should just involve the Mole Man, throwing an all-out invasion alongside the Moloids. This is where the Fantastic Four will have like their big moment, just saving pedestrians, fighting Moloids. I could just picture Ben Grimm, it's clovering time, and just taking out a bunch of Moloids. Then at the end, just using the combined powers to go in and take out the Mole Man, ending his short reign of terror in the city, but making them look like absolute heroes in front of the public. And just like they are in the comics, this will see the Fantastic Four become like mini celebrities. I know they have their superhero names, but they really don't care about going by them, or if people call them by their real names. This will also give them further praise and credibility in front of the public, similar to how Iron Man got in the beginning, just because he said I am Iron Man. And throughout the movie, I wouldn't want their base of operations to have its exterior revealed. I would like it to wait towards the end to be, revealed as the old Avengers Tower, which is now the Baxter Building. Maybe they redesigned it in between, and now where the A for Avengers used to be is now a 4 for the Fantastic Four. That's pretty cheesy, but it's something I would like to see, just so everybody else and everyone knows this is where we live. You want some? Come get some. For the post-credit scene, we could see Victor finalizing his iconic suit and just show him moving to New York, hinting at him being the villain in the sequel, which, as I mentioned in my previous video, I feel like he should just be the sequel villain, and not have him come out from the get-go. He is too big for a first movie. As I mentioned, it's better if they start low and then get to, the big bad, which is Dr. Doom. And honestly, Doom is a threat not only to them, it's a threat to the Avengers, even to other villains, like when he ripped Thanos' spine out of his body. And that's it. It's not perfect, but something along those lines would be pretty interesting to see on the big screen. Do you have any predictions? Leave them in the comments below. I also want to give a big thanks once again to Man Monster Gaming for all the work they did helping me edit this video. You can also find a link to their page below. And for next week's video, I will be casting the big screen debut of the Scarlet Speedster, The Flash. More specifically, I will be casting a Flashpoint movie. This one will not have Ezra Miller as the Flash, it will be somebody else. Wait for that. And please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on it. See ya!